Hello, I'm Johnny Cycles, and welcome to my third wishlist card for Modern Horizons 3. If you haven't seen my first two wishlist cards, be sure to check out the videos on my YouTube channel, Johnny Cycles, and the full articles on my website, cyclesgaming.com. So far, we wished for some sideboard hate against the free spells ruling Modern, and applied the Ragavan treatment to a turn 1 mana dork, with only a few regrets. Today, we're finally getting to the bombs I want to see printed in Modern Horizons 3. Specifically, dragons. I have a couple of cards in mind, all with variants that cover the power spectrum. Let me know in the comments which version you think would be reasonable. My third wishlist card is a hasty beater that does more than attack our opponent's life total. It also wreaks havoc on their mana base. Vornex, Born of Lava. It's a 4-mana 4/4 hasty flyer that, in its most reasonable version, reads, you may exert Vornex, Born of Lava when it attacks. When you do, target land an opponent controls loses all land types and abilities and becomes a waste. Over the past few years, Modern's mana bases have grown greedier and greedier as Wizards prints more and more to main cards. Leyline Binding is a busted Swords to Plowshares, Territorial Kavu is a superpowered Tarmogoyf, and Scion of Draco is a 2-mana 4/4 flyer. And Wizards only just printed a major support piece that further supercharges this strategy in Leyline of the Guild Pack. Blood Moon used to do the heavy lifting of keeping greedy mana bases in check, but it's not very good anymore. What happened? Ixalan happened. Yep, that's right. The unimpressive set from 2017, best known for bringing dinosaurs to Magic. Ixalan is responsible for the growing domination of greedy mana bases. How? The treasure token. Along with its dinosaurs, vampires, and merfolk, Ixalan gave us more of a fan-favorite tribe, pirates. And pirates love treasure. Treasure tokens in Ixalan were largely flavor wins with some janky build-around cards like Revel in Riches to keep things spicy. Once out of the bottle, though, the genie that is the treasure token has only grown. Wizards continues to print cards that generate treasure tokens, but rather than attach the effect to janky, overcosted cards, we see it added to some of the most busted and therefore most played cards in Modern. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, even Strike It Rich. And while that may not seem like many cards, they are uniquely positioned to push greedy mana bases in specific ways. Ragavan is the best one-drop in Magic and can win a game all on its own. It's a perfect support piece for any aggressive strategy, Domain Zoo included. Meanwhile, Fable of the Mirror Breaker is excellent at digging through your deck for more answers, and slots perfectly into any combo or control strategy, many of which are multiple colors. And with this addition of both card filtering and mana fixing, these decks can start playing better and better multicolored permanents that further strengthen their decks. Like Wrenn and 6, or Teferi Time Raveler. They can also cherry-pick the best cards from each color, like Solitude and Subtlety, or Veil of Summer, like in Temur Murktide now. Long story short, treasure tokens coupled with the triomes have allowed Magic players to build 4 and 5 color decks to access Magic's best cards with little to no risk. It's almost all upside. Vornex, Born of Lava gives mid-range fair decks playing 1 or 2 colors a way to both punish greedy mana bases and to level the playing field against cards like Leyline Binding. But it's not just the greedy mana bases that are running wild in Modern. Urza Saga is often a 1-card I win the game. Valakut allows Scapeshift and Primeval Titan players to win without ever dealing combat damage. And Infect is still a deck, even if Inkmoth Nexus is best in Hammer Time rather than a traditional Infect build. Vornex, Born of Lava is an answer to these problematic and often busted cards. But let's not forget about Tron, which never really goes away. Wizards has given us hate pieces like Alpine Moon and Field of Ruin to battle against various non-basic lands, but we need more if it's ever going to be a fair fight. We need a way to answer our opponent's lands while advancing our board. Let's break my Mythic Dragon down and discuss ways it could be more or less pushed. It's long past time for 4/4 hasty flying Mythic Dragons to cost 4 mana rather than 5. Mono Green has gotten several hasty beaters over the years, many with some form of evasion, Questing Beast, and a card playable, or probably only played by me, in Modern, Uvenwald Oddity. It's a 4 mana 4/4 with both haste and trample. And now we also have Goldvein Hydra. Dragons need a similar cost reduction. At 4 mana, the earliest we can cast Vornex, Born of Lava is turn 2, with a turn 1 Arbor Elf, into a turn 2 Forest and Utopia Sprawl. Is that really that busted? Let's consider turn 2 plays for other decks. Scion of Draco, Territorial Kavu, Dauthi Voidwalker, Dash Ragavan, Wrenn and 6, fetch land into Dragon's Rage Channeler, followed by Mishra's Bauble to Surveil, and have Delirium for Unholy Heat. What's different about these turn 2 plays compared to our potential turn 2 Vornex Born of Lava is that those decks don't need a turn 1 Mana Dork to survive or a turn 2 enchantment to resolve. Even Is It Murktide, which does require a couple of non-land permanents for their play, can get it all on the board on turn 2. Furthermore, many of these decks will be set up to answer our Hasty Dragon on turn 2 as well. Domain Zoo will have Leyline Binding mana up, Rakdos can fetch and Fatal Push, Izzet can easily have Unholy Heat turned on, and of course there's mana for Counterspell. Further reducing the brokenness of Vornex Born of Lava is that its land destruction is not complete. Believe me when I say I'd love it if it just read Destroy Target Non-Basic Land. But rather than max punish our opponent for their greed, Vornex Born of Lava leaves them with a colorless mana source. And finally, its land disruption comes only if we exert it. Thus, without a way to untap it the next turn, we'll have to take a whole turn off of attacking and blocking if we want to turn a land into a wastes. Overall, I think this is the most reasonably costed and powered version of this dragon that I came up with. However, I have some variants for y'all to consider. The first and possibly most busted is the same cost and stats as above, except the land disruption comes without exert, allowing us to hit a land a turn. The second, same cost and stats as above, but the land disruption is on ETB only. The less push version of the dragon comes at 5 mana, but with the same ability as above, with exert, and without exert. My first draft of this dragon had the land disruption attached to both the ETB and the attack trigger, but I think this is too powerful, given it also has haste. Such a card would mean we make 2 lands wastes, and even on turn 3, at the soonest, I think this is too much. So that's Vornex Born of Lava. What do you think? Do we need a card like it in Modern? Is it too pushed? Too weak? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I have one more dragon to add to my wish list, so be on the lookout for that video soon. As always, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com. I'll catch y'all on the next one.